prove you are a liar. You have a man chanting with over 100,000 black South Africans dancing to the death of the white farmer. And then later on in that video, he shows, and I'll show you another video, he goes, well, let's look at all the crosses laid out representing just one white farmer being killed. And it goes on forever. I showed this video on my show, I think 2 or 3 days ago. Why are we talking about South Africa? Why does it have any connectability to us? Because the world's interconnected. What is happening in other countries? You can look at America and say, well, that will come to us. And you say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? There are going to be people killing white people in America? That's absurd. People in America are going to be calling to kill whitey? That's absurd. Oh, really? Are you that stupid? Are you that ignorant to what's going on in America? Every single day, I can pull up a video of CNBC, CNN, MSNBC, politicians, activists, and they're claiming, making excuses or saying it's okay to kill the white farmer, and then talk about American whites, that American whites are the problem. Black activists are actively calling for the death of white Americans. And then you see the manifestation of all of this media come out. And I could show you, as I have done on our show, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of videos of blacks killing whites or blacks violently assaulting and putting people in brain damage, white people in brain damage. It's endless. If it was reversed and whites were killing blacks in South Africa, I'd be the first one saying, what in the hell's going on? If it was white people running around killing black people in America or beating them up, if there was 10, 15 white men beating the crap out of a black man on the street for no reason except he's black, I would be the first one screaming, I want all 15 of those white people arrested right now. Every single one of them, and I want the book thrown at them, and this better never happen again. And I will be actually out there helping. You don't see that. In fact, this next clip is another example of Donald Trump's power. Another example of why we, the Americans, real Americans, not you anti-American scum on the left, but real Americans, we want this man fighting for us because he's not pulling any punches. He's looking at this South African president. He's basically saying, you're a moron. And I'm going to prove it that you're a moron in front of everyone. Please play this, Caleb.
Can you explain to Americans why it's appropriate to welcome white Afrikaners here when other refugees like Afghans, Venezuelans, Haitians have all had their protected status revoked?
Well, this is a group, NBC, that is truly fake news. They ask a lot of questions in a very pointed way. They're not questions, they're statements. We've had tremendous complaints about Africa, about other countries too, from people. They say there's a lot of bad things going on in Africa, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. When you say we don't take others, all you have to do is take a look at the southern border. We let 21 million people come through our border, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. They came from all over the world. In many cases, they're criminals. They come from prisons. They come from mental institutions. They come from street gangs. They're drug dealers. So don't say that we didn't take them. We're trying to get them out as fast as we can. And we're doing record business on that. And we just won a big case where we're allowed to send back hundreds of criminals to Venezuela. Just won that today in the Supreme Court. I'm happy to hear. But we do have a lot of people are very concerned with regard to South Africa, and that's really the purpose of the meeting, and we'll see how that turns out. But we have many people that feel they're being persecuted, and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. It's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up, yeah.
It's a subject that's going to come up. But first, we need to talk about how you're killing all the white people in South Africa, and they're coming here for refuge. That's exactly what I voted for. And I voted for a president to look the media in the eye and never apologize, and look at NBC reporter that, for whatever reason, is offended that white Christian English-speaking people are allowed to come into America. As Donald Trump said, 21 million, I believe it's 30 million, and he'll get there. But at least he's over the 10 million, that lie that Fox News says all the time. So now we're at 21 million people came in 4 years. I'm saying it's 30. We're splitting hairs, about 9 million apart, but we'll get to the 30 million. 21 million people of color came into our country. 60 to 70% of them single adult military-age men from Africa, continent of Africa, Middle East, Venezuela, Haiti. Didn't have a problem with them. Most of them didn't speak English. Muslim, voodooist, gang members, psychopathic cartel members, PLA soldiers, terrorists. Not a peep from legacy media. Not a peep as we were being destroyed. Our sovereignty was absolutely destroyed by people that we have nothing in common with, but we bring in 59, not 59 million, not 590,000, not even 5,900, just 59, the sole little number, 59 white South African farmers. And oh dear God, we are a nation that just wants white people. And maybe there's a bigger question needs to be asked. Why is it that having 21 to 30 million people of color brought into America illegally is okay, and 59 whites are not? To a country that is majority populated by whites, majority Christian, the vast majority English speakers. Why? Why is that bad? Well, it's bad. It's bad because there is an anti-white sentiment in our country right now where they want to absolutely change our demographics. Before you begin to scream, "Oh, that's absurd," let me give you a little information. 50 million illegal aliens that reside in America right now. That's 50 million. 1 in 6 to 1 in 7 residents in the United States of America is an illegal alien. The governments of America have, Republican and Democrat, have artificially destroyed our demographics to the point that they artificially brought in tens of millions of Latin American, Mexican, South American, Central American, Hispanics, that now Hispanics are the number one minority in America, and black minority is now number 2. Number 2 minority. So they lost all their power, their leverage. Isn't that interesting? Do I care if blacks have more babies or Hispanics have more babies or whites have or Asians? No one cares because they are Americans. We have a problem when your demographics get upset because you artificially inflated and invaded our country. Let's just play this game. Do you think the Japanese would be okay if China flooded 30 million of their people into Japan? Oh, there would be a big problem. What if a bunch of Haitians, 3 million Haitians went into Mexico and upset their demographic. Never in a million years. And this is something that never is talked about. I'm going to bring our next guest in, but I want America to understand this, because we have been living in a world of propaganda for my whole life and even beyond, that the whole world lives in harmony. The whole world is in harmony, racial harmony. There's no problems. The only problem in the whole globe is the United States of America, because we're racist and blah, blah, blah. Do you know that when I ran the station in San Diego, do you know the biggest problem I had when Biden started to flood the border? And even before then, when we had people that we arrested of all nationalities, do you know that I would run out of space in my detention facility because I could not put certain nationalities in with other nationalities because they hated each other, they would kill each other. I could not put Guatemalans in with Mexicans, El Salvadorians in with Guatemalans, Hondurans with El Salvadorians, Venezuelans with Mexicans. God forbid I put anyone from Haiti in with any other nationalities, because everyone hated Haitians. Indian nationals, could put them in with any other nationality. They couldn't stand the Indians. My point is, the hatred in the world is rampant. And the idea that we need to bring all of that hatred, all that racial division, all of those anti-societal norms into America is insane. And that's why Donald Trump is elected. That's why Donald Trump is now stating, I want them all out of my country. I have a next guest. They're actually, I love having them in because they're a ray of sunshine, actually, in this world where I'm reporting on insanity. And that is Pet Club 24/7 owners, Kurt and Kristen. Kurt and Kristen, welcome into the show again. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, JJ. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. How's the weather today? Is it sunny and warm?
It's amazing. It's so beautiful.
Oh, come
Clear
on.
sky.
Just lie to me. Will you just lie to me and say it's raining and cold and miserable, right?
It's starting to get too hot though, JJ. It definitely is too hot.
Stop, right? I know. It's in Kansas, it's okay. It could be better, but it's okay. But I do miss the West Coast. I miss that whole the Western region where it's dry and the worst thing, it gets hot, right? Come on. What are you complaining about, Kurt? Stop complaining. You live in paradise. Well, guys, I have two videos that I want to show you. And this one just kind of grabbed me yesterday when I was prepping for our show. And because your product and Pet Club focuses on pets and humans. So, and I find that I always love that tagline, but so I broke it down into humans and pets. And my first video is a gentleman talking about the immune system, our immune system, exactly what you are preaching and how it starts in the gut. And we've talked about this before, but I just want to play this video and get your take on this gentleman talking about the power of the immune system, but it's starting in the gut. If you can play this for us, Caleb.
If you look at the surge in autoimmune conditions and allergies, they've increased far too rapidly for that to be down to human genetics. Human genetics take a lot longer than that to change. You know, we're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of years usually. Something else has changed. When we look at the microbiome, it's clear that people who are experiencing these types of autoimmune conditions, they tend to have dysbiosis. I think it would be far-fetched to say that a causal relationship has been established for some of these. A lot of this is epidemiology and it's an association, but there are mechanisms that do make sense. And so the idea is that if you have dysbiosis and you have less of these short-chain fatty acids being produced.
And just to be clear, dysbiosis being a dysregulation of your gut health in general.
Yeah, so you've lost that diversity and you get a relative reduction in the healthful microbes, and you get an increase in the pathogenic inflammatory microbes. And when this happens, you get breakdown of that mucosal layer, you get separation of the endothelial cells. So the endothelial cells are held together by tight junctions. And butyrate, that short chain fatty acid that I mentioned, one of the functions that it has in the gut is to help keep those tight junctions in good health. As you get this more inflammatory state in the gut and dysbiosis, you get breakdown of that layer. This is important because it allows the flow of molecules from the gut into the bloodstream that shouldn't be getting through the gut lining. And these are often referred to as bacterial endotoxins. They essentially travel into the bloodstream where they rev up the immune system. When you're driving up inflammation, you're increasing oxidative stress through the body, and oxidative stress leads to DNA damage, and then you're starting to accelerate the aging process of tissues.
One of the things that struck me right out the bat was this is not like an evolutionary thing through our DNA, right? He's saying something has been brought into our environment, into our system, that is causing this. What is your response to watching that video?
Well, I'm so glad that he's getting that out, because a lot of people don't understand the reciprocity of the immune system and the gut, the microbiome, and how they actually work together and each play a role in the health and the workings of each other. The microbiome is what helps to train and shape the immune system. But at the same time, the immune system is what helps keep the microbiome healthy and balanced. So you really need both functioning together. So when we see all of this happening, and the allergies are the perfect example of this I don't know the right word, but mistake that's happening, really, that the body's making. Because all an allergy is the immune system overreacting to whatever allergen is present, and it starts kicking into gear and producing histamine and mast cells and all different types of things, and it overreacts and creates this symptom that we call allergies. Well, when the immune system's actually modulated, when it finds its way back, it no longer has that same reaction to the presence of that allergen that it was misidentifying in the first place. So, it's hard to talk about because we compartmentalize everything and we want everything to function independently of each other, but God created it all to work together. Like the whole body, all the systems all work together to keep each other balanced. So I'm glad that he's getting the word out on what's actually happening when we experience things like allergies and autoimmune, that there's a misbalance in the gut, that these toxins are getting through into the bloodstream that should not be going into the bloodstream, confusing the immune system. Immune system starts attacking healthy cells and healthy processes and healthy nutrients, or what we call allergens that are being introduced to the body. So it all really works together, and when we can get the immune system functioning better and more optimally, it helps improve the gut. But at the same time, if we can help the gut functioning more optimally, it helps to train and educate the immune system at the same time.
It is all interconnected, and it's shocking that you believe so strongly in God when the real belief should be that we came from tadpoles in a mud puddle 700 billion years ago, right? I find you to be a little bit off, so I'll focus my next question on Kurt. Of course, I'm being facetious. Kurt, what do you think this gentleman is referring to? This is not evolutionary, that's my word, in the DNA, that something has been brought into it. What is he referring to, what has been brought in, or who has done this to us?
Well, again, we know that our gut health is our health. If the gut's not right, everything goes south. And so, just like everything, just like we all, most people are knowing today, it's all come down to, again, the different types of additives that they put in the foods that we're ingesting into our body, on top of, every time we have an issue going on, they're subscribing something to us. and all those things are affecting the gut health. It's just terrible, and that just goes in line with all the sickness that's going on today, all the issues that are going on, and it all is a result of what we all know and what is really being exposed right now. And all these different things that are put into our foods are causing this. Now, here's something great though, JJ. I don't know if you know this, but the Coriolus versicolor mushroom is the product that we market, positively impacts gut microbiome by acting as a prebiotic and promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria. It's really a great product because it's high in polysaccharide content, the very things that are necessary in providing the beta glucans and the things that you need to support gut health and immune function. So it's a great way to combat a lot of what's happening out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we do need something to combat, because I just saw an interview, it was either this morning, from Dr. McCullough going in, and now he has now stated on a congressional testimony that 73.9% of all deaths now are associated with the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. That is insane. So we need products like yours to go in there and clean, in my word, and this is not scientific, but to clean our immune system, to clean our gut. And then one of the other video I would like to show you, and it's about 30 seconds, and it's about the pets. And it was a veterinarian talking about the vaccines that pets are getting. And in 30-second video will shock you from what she's saying. Caleb, can you please play this?
The cancers that I see are mostly caused by vaccinations and flea and tick products and drugs.
Goodness.
When I started practicing 40 years ago, dogs lived until their early 20s. Cats lived into their late 20s. Now at 8 or 5, they're saying they're older, middle-aged. It's ridiculous. They're living shorter and shorter lives. We are creating this disease.
When I heard dogs living to their 20s, I replayed it because I was multitasking. I thought, well, I know I didn't hear that right, because as growing up, I had 2 big dogs, and they died in 13, 14, somewhere around there. So when she said 20s, I was like, what is she talking about? And cats into the late 20s? What's your response when you hear that?
Well, it's really crazy because we've been studying this for so long, and we really have seen the effects that, the foods, treats, and toys that they're ingesting is doing because of the lack of the regulations on that, because a lot of the ingredients are being brought in from other countries where there's toxins and metals and all types of things that they're finding in them. And that's one reason for it, on top of just the environment, the things they're stepping on, the things they lick, all the things that are on grass and different stuff like that. And yes, we see such a crazy amount of stories that we hear that animals, between the ages of 4 and 8 that are passing way too soon. And fortunately, we've been able to get some great things done with, what we're doing as a company that are really helping, again, using the word combat the things that are going on out there. And then when we look at the ratio of the vaccines, it's amazing how it correlates exactly with the act in 1984 that, prevents anyone from suing a vaccine company, and how the vaccines increased not only for humans, but also for animals. Yeah. And it just went right along in the same way. And so, we have to, have enough common sense to understand that, that's a big component of that reasoning as well. I mean, how can it not be?
Well, I think information, I call this the age of awakening, where there is, if you are going to be ignorant and you are not going to be knowledgeable about certain things, it's willful ignorance now. There is no more, well, I wonder if vaccines are bad. Is there any correlation between the 197 vaccines we shoot into a newborn baby, has any relevance to autism, etc.? Same thing with our dogs. Dogs and cats were living in their 20s. Now they're dying at 5. And then everyone's like, well, I don't know what it is, right? And now I don't think those days have long gone. I like to end like this. Can you give me, if I'm just new to this and I want to go to Pet Club 24/7, and I would like you to tell me what product that you sell that you would start with for a human, and what would you start with your pets?
Absolutely. Well, we've seen what the Coriolis versicolor mushroom can do for pets and people. There are hundreds of published studies showing how it impacts the immune system and modulates the immune system. And God gave us an immune system as our body's first defense against everything. It repairs, it rebuilds, it regulates, it renews, it rebalances everything in the body. So we have a saying, every pet, every person, every day should be taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. So God has blessed us. He's given us a really pure and potent strain of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, and we've perfected the extraction process, so it's really efficable. So if you're a person that wants to get that immune support, I recommend getting the Inforce, which is the green bottle, and that's the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, and that will start helping to get that immune support so it can function optimally and get to work at whatever's happening inside of the body. Now for your pets, we have different treats for dogs, cats, and horses. So when you go to the website, you'll see all of the different cookies or gravies that we have for dogs and cats and horses that are available. But again, whether you're looking for relief with something, or even maybe if you're just being proactive instead of reactive and looking for optimization for your pets or yourself, every single living being should be taking this Coriolis versicolor mushroom. We are seeing this restoration of creation. What God is doing is nothing short of a miracle. And so we're grateful to be a part of it. And we're really, really confident that it'll be helpful for you.
All right, you guys are the best. You bring me some hope and some happiness in a world that is someone's very dark at times. So thank you. I hope it's raining and miserable there for you, and go enjoy that miserable day. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in a week or two, okay? All right. Bye-bye. God bless. Kurt and Kristen from Pet Club 24/7. You can go to Pet Club 24/7 or truthwithjj247.com. They are wonderful people. And how dare they bring in God? What does God have to do with any of this perfection in the world? You got guys like Bill Maher and et cetera, and you need to pray for them, right? That they have a as in the 70s would say, come to Jesus. The idea, the absolute insane idea that everything came from nothing. Do you know what kind of level of faith that you have to have? That everything came from nothing? That we evolved from a mud puddle? We evolved from apes. Do you know how much faith that you have to believe that nonsense? Versus the belief that there is a divine creator that created all of this. You don't have to really try to envision what that is. If you've ever held a baby, then you know there's a God. Have you ever gone out and looked at just the world around you? That everything works perfectly? Like, how is that? How's the grass growing? How's there dandelions? How's now spring's here? The trees have leaves. How does things not fall out of the sky and crash into our world? How do I have a eyeballs that can instantly see something, and my brain works in conjunction with it, that it instantly recognizes everything that I'm looking at? Or the fact that your skin can release water out of it, but won't let toxins, unless you pile them on and jam them in, to come into your skin. Unbelievable. But no, let's keep listening and being talked down to by atheists and people like that, like Bill Maher, et cetera, and that think that we're crazy. The tide's turning. The old phrase that have heard throughout my childhood into adulthood is, you Christians just don't believe in science. And we knew that was a lie, but that was the mantra. And now that science is proving everything that we believe in, that babies are not a clump of cells, they are a baby. Isn't it fascinating as science catches up to theology and God and is proving us right? They don't want to talk about science anymore. Then it just becomes about rights and feelings. If you don't despise the left, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't. Let's dabble into some insanity, will you? Will you go down this path of lives a TikTok with me to prove further that we are in a war against evil in this country? That people that have severe mental problems are now a significant percentage of our population. Here's Exhibit A. Enjoy this moment into insanity. Caleb, if you can bring in the very first one, this man's excited about being a woman and being able to gain weight. I see it on my screen to the left.
So like
There
when
she
I was
is.
a guy, I always had to work out and do cardio and have abs. And like I was always pretty fit. But now that I'm a woman, I don't know why, but I feel like I can just gain weight. And like maybe it's because I know a lot of women my age that are just a little bit thick, and I'm not trying to say all women are thick or anything like that, but I want to be thick. Like, I feel like it would be nice to have an ass and like be a little chunky. Plus I can eat. Like it makes it so I can eat. My doctor was like, you need to gain some weight if you want to have boobs and a butt. And I was like, okay, I can do that.
Dear God. Let's go from one poor soul to a really, really jarring image of a federal park ranger. Go ahead. There's no words to describe this. Go ahead and just play this, Caleb.
Some carry hate. We carry the largest trans pride flag to ever be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point that trans is natural. The Trump administration and transphobes would love to have you believe that being trans is unnatural, but species that can transition sexes can be found on every continent and in every ocean on planet Earth. So call it a protest, call it a celebration. We are bringing elevation to liberation. They try to erase us from government websites and education systems and libraries. So we raise this flag higher than ever before so every trans person knows that they have people that love them in their corner. The people united will never be defeated.
That's disturbing. That's just disturbing. That would freak me out if I ever saw that thing on a trail in the national forest. But this is the world we're living in. This is the reality. This is the truth. Here's another mentally ill person talking about, again, everything revolves around their sexual identity or lack thereof. Watch this nut job.
As a non-binary person, my transition goal is to be so androgynous that nobody can tell what my assigned gender at birth was. And so the most affirming thing that can happen to me, and it happens all the time, is when a transphobic person comes at me, either in person or online, and they're like, "You'll always be a man." You fool. You absolute buffoon. You thought you were insulting me, but you were actually giving me confidence. I've won. I've already won.
Let's just state this. Nobody's coming up to her, him, they, them, and saying, "You'll always be a man." I bet people purposely walk around that individual. They see that grotesque nose ring from National Geographic in 1970s, and they go, oh, dear Lord, please let me get on the other side of the street so I don't have to go by this mental patient. That's what they think. You're a mental patient. You should be on lithium. Here's somebody that, as my dad used to say, this man should be punched right in the face. And there's two men in this next clip that should be punched in the face. But James Comey is so arrogant, so full of himself, and he needs to be put in jail. He's a traitor. He, as Donald Trump stated very, very perfectly, he is a dirty cop. He is a dirty cop. Watch this late night debacle.
Is this Instagram?
Instagram.
You
yeah.
grammed this. You were walking down the beach.
Caleb,
what happened? You
is
walked
Kim
down the
here
beach,
now?
And you saw this on the beach?
Yeah, my wife and I, Patrice, were walking on the beach and saw those numbers in shells on the beach. And
you didn't do this. Somebody else did this.
Yeah, somebody else did it. We were on a walk preparing for this week, the rollout of my book.
Yep.
She looked at it and said, why'd someone put their address in the sand?
All right.
And then we stood at it, looked at it, trying to figure out what it was. And she'd long been a server in restaurants. And she said, you know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's a reference to restaurants when you would 86 something in a restaurant.
Right, it's off the menu.
Yeah. I said, no, I remember when I was a kid, you'd say 86 to get out of a place. This place stinks, let's 86 it.
Right. I was a bartender. You would 86 a customer if they were getting drunk. Like, let's 86 them. Let's, like, give them a low-proof alcohol, something like that. Yeah.
And so I said, I think it's a clever political message. And she said, you should take a picture of it. I said, sure. And then she said, you should Instagram that. And boom.
We're supposed to believe the leader of the FBI has no idea what 86 means. They just mock us. They just mock us constantly. Look, after I go through libs of TikTok, I do want to hang myself. So I need hope and I need optimism. So when I need hope and optimism at the end of the week, I bring in someone by the name of Kim Yater because she is filled with hope. I'm going to try to bring her down a little bit, but that's hard to do. Kim, how you doing today?
Hey, JJ, don't you be hanging yourself, okay?
It is. I go down. I go to libs at TikTok sometimes, Kim, and there's days where I'm just like, I praying this is like an anomaly, but I know it's not, right? Because it's one lunatic after another. You see him in our world. The purple hair gives it away many, many times. So there is hope, and I would like to maybe start this segment with you about the hope. Is what you and I in America dodged. We dodged a massive blow, meaning Kamala Harris didn't become president. Joe Biden, they couldn't hide his dementia anymore. But I want to show you this video of what, and maybe this is bigger hope and realism for people like me and you, because disinformation, the department, the Ministry of Disinformation, if Kamala Harris would have won, they would have come after people like me and you.
Oh,
for sure.
Oh,
for sure. So let's show this audience and I'll show you this video of this nut job that was going to be in charge of information.
Laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice or vote. Oh, information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origin seems slightly less atrocious.
Woo. Yeah, woo.
Whoa. That was real. So if people forgot, Kim, that was real. That was a person that was going to run the disinformation ministry under Joe Biden. That is unbelievable.
They always tell you what they're going to do. Okay. They flip it on you. That's the manipulation or, gaslighting or, whatever you want to call it. So thank you, God, that we are in the position we're in right now. We're still a long way off from taking this republic back, but inch by inch, we are taking this great country back. But people like her, she was strategically chosen, JJ. People love entertainment. We have a world that is entertained, and they have no idea what's happening to them.
No, they don't. And you're correct in that we are taking inch by inch back. And one way that we're seeing this, Kim, is this revelation, even though people like me and you knew that Joe Biden was mentally unfit from day one.
Yes.
They can't hold back. It's like the floodgates have opened now, and now it is everyone's now they're starting to scramble. And now when they start to go after the auto pen, and who's doing that? Anita Dunn now has been named as the #1 person running our government. She's a full-on communist, was running our country. But I want to show a video to you and the audience just to put into context, or just to watch this video to understand the propaganda, Kim, that we were fed for 4 years, that this man, Joe Biden, was cognitively aware that it was even Thursday. Like the day of the week would have been a massive accomplishment for him. Watch this man walk in the sand and tell me that he had all his faculties.
He's trying too hard. He's playing.
Mr. President!
Mr. President, just a word.
Mr. President, what are you going to say to Trump on Wednesday? Mr. President, what are you going to talk with Trump on Wednesday?
Kim, they actually said, oh, he's playing. They're trying to cover for him. If you listen to the audio, they're like, the reporter's like, oh, he's playing with us. No, he wasn't.
No, this is how he shows up. We've seen him walk down plane stairs. We've seen him walk up plane stairs. We've seen him fall off bikes. He is not playing. Now, here's the thing that is so interesting. You know, Shakespeare said, all of life is a stage. Man is but the simple player. We've heard President Trump say over and over in interviews, central casting, central casting, central casting. Oh, that general, oh, they make some good central casting. We hear that from President Trump. But I just wonder, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, JJ, but this tells me it's so evident that this is not real, or that it's so bizarre. How can this be real? How can we have elected a president to run this country who can't even walk on the sand? Now, that's different. If the guy's in a wheelchair, we knew that beforehand, but cognitively, he has not been showing up. And we can see that by all the facts that are coming out about who has the pen. And you said socialism. Is that what you said? She's known for socialism?
Known for social communism. She's a communist.
For communism.
Okay. Her favorite historical character that she aligns with, her words, not mine, Mao Zedong.
Oh, God.
So let's go down this road, Kim. Let's say that we're able to determine, like Newt Gingrich came out on a tweet 2 days ago, and it was a perfect tweet. He said, this man that would go to bed at 11 o'clock in the morning for a nap with his pudding, he signed almost 3,000 pardons or computations in one day. 3,000. That means you had to have been briefed, cognitively briefed, make a decision, okay, I'll sign it. They auto-penned almost 3,000 pardons, Kim.
Yes.
So when we go down that and we look at, okay, he wasn't aware, they auto-penned that, they auto-penned the withdrawal from Afghanistan, they auto-penned the open borders, they auto-penned everything, and they're able to show that. What do you think the recourse should be when we're when it is without a shadow of a doubt that President Biden was not in his right mind, and therefore it is invalid. Do we invalidate everything, or do we just go, oh, it's bygones be
We
bygones?
100%, everything is canceled. It is canceled. Okay, that's exactly what should happen. And I mean, you've said it over and over. What has happened is treason. Lies, deceit. Our country was stolen from us, but we allowed it. This is where we've got to stop being victims and stop, I mean, the reality is we can do something about it, right? But if we sit here at the effect of what's happening, we will not know what steps to take forward to change what's happening. So it is going to be up to every single one of us to go, you know what? Why I voted for who I voted for. But if I really look along the way, if I look at the past 20 years, what action steps have I taken to stand in the gap? Have I been taking my city back, my county back, my neighborhood back? What about my own family? And not that that should keep us in a place of feeling guilty and shame. No, that's not what I'm saying. If anything, it will give us our power back to say, you know what? I'm going to own this. I'm going to own where we're at right now. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to shift what's happening right here on my own local level. I think that's going to be key, because if we keep ourselves here, JJ, on this high level, and we're looking at this whole situation, I mean, it's all coming out. It is all going to come out. And if we look at it like, oh, hit, listen, we've already been hit and taken down. But why did we allow it? I was riding on the coattails of my forefathers, JJ. All my forefathers that died for my freedom, thinking freedom was free. And this is where I take responsibility and say, okay, what can I do today? Where can I stand in the gap in taking this great republic back?
You're absolutely right. We have allowed it to happen. We've allowed what our founding fathers created to be destroyed on our watch. That is our generational sin that we have right now. We have to take our power back. It's the greatest phrase that you use, and it's your show, takeyourpowerbackshow.com. You and I partner with one of our sponsors. We share a sponsor, and that's Patriots Made. We have 1 minute left. I want you to please give my audience, you want to take your power back. Why should we go to Patriots Made? Why should we stop going to the box stores? Why? Why should we stop and go to this company to buy what we need for our daily lives, for our cleaning supplies, for our food? Why? Give me a 60-minute. Why?
Because we have the ability to truly take our power back, just like I said a minute ago. We're standing in the gap. How can we do that with our own families? Well, and how can we do it by impacting BlackRock and Vanguard, box retailers that make the product alcohols, the sulfate, closin, the poisons, the heavy metals? You wonder why this move to transhumanism is happening and what they're putting in the everyday ingredients of your products. If we continue to feed the big box retailers, we will feed BlackRock and Vanguard. We'll continue to feed the corruption, and we'll be feeding the pharmaceutical industry. This is our opportunity to say no. We're taking our power back. We're switching to the best, what USA just named America's best brand, better, safer products, from what you surround yourself with to what you put on and what you put in your body. This company does not have advertisers or distributors. They've been around for 40 years. Best of science and nature. So you want to get results in a very specific area? You want to go to patriotsmade.com/JJ. This is going to give you the opportunity to put the money back in your pocket, better, safer products, less expensive, and no more feeding BlackRock and Vanguard. No more feeding these big box retailers. Feed the farmer, feed the rancher, feed the ministry, feed the patriots in shows just like JJ's. That's why we want to take our power back from the big box retailers, JJ.
We have to take our power back and stop feeding the beast, right?
Yes.
So I remember before I got with Patriots Made, I began to get frustrated. Like, okay, I'm giving all my money to the box stores and I'm giving it to the companies that are making products, and now I'm finding out the products are bad for me, and then they're taking their profits and they're putting it into BLM, defund the police, defund ICE, and companies and organizations that hate me. And I was like, it was frustrating. I'm like, I'm funding my own demise. I'm funding the enemy, Kim.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's how we have to take our
100%.
power back. I think it's
Yes.
through our purchasing power. I think it's by who we align with. Why would we not take a few minutes and go and find the patriots in our local communities and go give them the business?
Yes.
Go give those
come
people.
on.
Why not? I'll give you a great
That's
example.
right.
I have a fast signs company in Kansas, and I go to them because number one, they're great product, but they're patriots. They believe in police. As a former sheriff, they believe in conservatism and the Constitution. Why would I go to another company that is adversarial to that? Why, instead of going there? Same thing with Patriots Made. Why would I continue to go buy products from a company that hates me, or I can go to buy products from a company that loves me and their products are better? It's not like I'm going to buy inferior products. I'm going to buy better products.
Exactly. And Gigi, I want to throw this out there. So everything from never ever hormone or antibiotic black label beef, no mRNA, all vertical integration, everything you see with this company is the bomb. And the reality is, why do we feel hopeless? Why do we feel like every day I feel fatigue? It's because your body has all of the heavy metals in it. It's from those everyday products that we're using. So we get to take our power back by putting ingredients in the body that actually helps boost testosterone, that helps women with all of their monthly cycles. I mean, the reality is, I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you, you ready? They have a brand new product. It's called the Rooster Booster. It's really not called that, but I'm telling you, it's the Rooster Booster. I just had to leave that with you. So men's testosterone plays a big deal in how we feel. So I say men, let's take our power back. Come on.
Well, it's going to start with the men. Kim Yater always gives me a jolt of energy and optimism. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you, JJ.
Keep fighting.
Love you. Love your show.
I love you too. Bye-bye. Kim Yater, takeyourpowerbackshow.com, takeyourpowerbackshow.com. She is incredible. She always gives me hope when I am feeling sometimes hopeless. So go to our patriotsmade.com/JJ and go to her show. Kim Yater, takeyourpowerback.com. Man, that was a fast show. We got a minute left. I'm just always looking at my clock to the left. I always need my clock to know what I've got left. We do have hope. And there are times that I do feel hopeless because of the things I see, and I look at the enormity of what we have to overcome. Because we have been asleep at the wheel. Worse than that, we've been complicit in the deconstructing of America, and then allowing those same people that destructed our country to build it in the way they wanted it to be. We're in, and I say this quite often, but it is so true, we are in a war for the soul of America. We have people that hate America. We have people that are openly racist against white people. We are a nation that has sided with foreign nationals. We are a nation that removed God from everything. And then we sit here and wonder, without God, why we have fallen. This is as much a spiritual revolution as it is a revolution to take our country back. Because without God, we have nothing.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon